Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Orange County School Board's regularly scheduled meeting this Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and I must say it was absolutely remarkable how quickly you all got quiet. I don't know when I've seen that happen in a very long time, and I can't remember when I've seen these chambers so full, and it does the heart good to see so many people here in person, so thank you all for coming out tonight. I want to welcome you to this meeting, and let me first make sure that we have all of our board members either present virtually or in person. So let me begin with Member Gallo, who should be calling in. Member Gallo.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Member Lopez.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Member Colbert.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon, Member Gould.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Member Felder.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Castrodeno.
Good evening.
Good evening, Vice Chair Byrd.
Good evening, Chair.
Good evening. All right, we are all in participation. As a reminder to everyone in the chambers, you have the option of wearing masks, but they are no longer mandatory here in the building. And I also want to remind the public that the board members will not be engaging in outside electronics during the meeting. So if you are trying to communicate with any of us during the meeting, do not expect an answer back. We'll respond back to you as soon as we can. And for anyone who has an opportunity to speak during the meeting, if you're using the microphones, speak as much directly into them as you can. When you turn your head sideways, it's much harder for them to pick up your voice, and we want to make sure that when you're speaking, we can hear you, and that everyone that might be watching on Orange TV is also able to hear you. Member Gould, before I call on the Pledge of Allegiance, I see your button. Did you want to? Yeah, well, let's do this. In a moment, we're going to invite you to join us in a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. But before doing so, I really want to call on Member Gould so that she can lead us in both.
With sadness, I share that we lost a student over this past weekend from West Orange High School who decided he couldn't go on anymore, and our thoughts and prayers go out to that family. In addition, I was just notified that we lost a community member who had a very full and wonderful life, but was very instrumental in West Orange County in many ways, Barbara Roper. So please keep both of these families in your thoughts and prayers as we move forward as a community. With that, a moment of silence, please.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Gould, for leading us in that and for sharing it with us. Both tragic pieces of information. Before we discuss tonight's order of business, we have a student and district level recognitions that I'd like to acknowledge. First, I want to recognize 6 East River High School students for winning the patch design competition during the 10th annual Student Astronaut Challenge at the Kennedy Space Center in February. To tell us more about these amazing students, but let me tell you a little bit more first, and then I'm going to call on somebody to tell us more about the amazing students. The Student Astronaut Challenge is an aerospace and STEM competition for middle and high school students. It's designed to test their knowledge of space shuttle operations and engineering, launch, orbiting, and landing of the Space Shuttle Enterprise Flight Simulator. It sounds like a lot in and of itself. Through these STEM activities, students acquire critical thinking and problem-solving skills that are beneficial for future careers in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. Under the direction of teachers Jessica Williams and Danielle Miller, these students competed against 11 other high schools in Florida and Georgia, and East River was the only OCPS school that participated in the competition. The team created a space-themed team flight patch design with their names and the school's Falcon mascot and placed third in the aerospace engineering and space design competitions and third overall. The East River High students are seniors Eugenio Diaz, Savannah Fowler, Adam Rouse, 11th graders Zachary Breidenball, Howe Pham, and sophomore Seth Sherman. And now to tell us more about these amazing students and their awards, we'll hear from Nikki Campbell, principal of East River High School, and science teacher Jessica Williams.
Good evening. I am so excited to be here tonight to participate in recognizing our students and our teachers on this amazing accomplishment. The Astronaut Challenge, as you said, was created to foster a love of science in our young adults and teach them real-world problem-solving skills necessary to succeed. So I'm beyond blessed to have two wonderful teachers. Miss Jessica Williams, she is our science teacher. She teaches biology. She is also their coach for this challenge. And then we have Mrs. Miller, who teaches astronomy, and I wanted to make sure I said this right. She brought the challenge to East River for us for our first year participating, but she has participated in the zero-G research flight, so she is the closest I've been to an astronaut, and they're both amazing. But our students did an exceptional job. We are beyond thrilled of their accomplishment. Our school is excited, our community is excited, and we can't wait to see how they do next year, because we know they're ready to participate, and we really want to see how they apply what they learned through this opportunity in their own lives. So thank you for having us tonight, and congratulations. You guys made us so proud.
Can we, we're going to ask if the students would come up here so we can shake their hands. I think we're allowed to do that finally once again, or we can do an elbow, or we can do something. But if you can come up, we'd love to see you. And we'll do a fist bump, yes. And if Miss Campbell and Miss Williams and Miss Miller, if you want to come up as well. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, can we get a picture, please? Thank you. Oh my gosh, that's very tight.
Depends on how they're coming.
Perfect.
So cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, hang on. One more. One more picture. Can we get the principals, teachers back up here?
That's everybody.
Come on.
One more has their name.
There we go.
Trouble with the short.
All right, and Member Cobert and then Member Gallo have a few comments. Member Cobert.
Thank you, Chair.
There we go. It is almost like old times. This makes me really happy to have you here and to celebrate this with you. I'm going to give you a proud mom moment. So I'm speaking to the students. My son is an aeronautical and aerospace engineer. So he went all the way through OCPS, and he went to Purdue, great school for aerospace and aeronautics. But what you're doing is really, really important. You guys, you're the future scientists that are going to solve the problems of our country and the world. And that's why we're so proud of you. I look at your faces and I know that our world and our country is going to be okay. Just so proud of you.
Thank you. Member Gallo. Member Gallo, are you with us? There you
I
go.
am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say how proud I am of the students, and especially East River High, and how happy I am for all the students and for the administration, and how much I love the principal over at East River High. She's just doing a fabulous job with all the programs and stuff that she's been implementing in at that school. So I just wanted to say, give her a shout out and say congratulations. I couldn't be more proud to represent that school. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Gallo. We also want to take this time to recognize Dream Lake Elementary School and its collaboration with Dix Height Landscape Architect Firm. This past February, during an event at Dream Lake Elementary, an outdoor campus vision plan was unveiled, which includes outdoor classrooms, a memorial garden, trees, an expanded play area, and other landscape features. This plan is the result of a partnership established with Dix Height in November of 2020. Since 2015, the school has been under the leadership of Principal Carol Ann Martin. And during her tenure in 2019, the school was designated as a School of Innovation for introducing a new learning structure and creating a student house system that includes science, technology, reading, engineering, art, and math, which is known as STREAM. STREAM provides students with an opportunity to participate in critical thinking practices and creative assignments. Dr. Martin believes STREAM is a way of thinking and encourages her teachers to develop creative, cross-content lessons that have inspirational, fun, and colorful murals painted on the classroom walls to keep students engaged in learning every day. She invited Dix Height's president, CEO, and co-founder, Chris Height, and her team to tour the school campus to collaborate on the engineering component of STREAM. This community partnership included discussing different stages of a campus vision plan with Dream Lake Elementary's students and staff. In 2021, students also participated in campus mapping, brainstorming, and creating conceptual sketches throughout the year, and planted trees donated by Cherry Lake on the school campus in May of 2021. To tell us a little bit more about the campus vision plan, we'll hear directly from Dr. Martin, principal of Dream Lake Elementary School, which is located in District 7, and we'll also hear from Ms. Height at Dix Height. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. First of all, just thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you the collaboration of teaching and learning between Dix Height and Dream Lake Elementary students and staff. I would like to present to you, you probably heard of, and that's just our little thank you picture. You've heard of STEM, you've heard of STEAM. I would like to present to you STREAM. In addition to being a team-building structure of a house system which functions as our school-wide behavior management plan, STREAM is a way of thinking. It is a way of supporting students in building a connection with people, with content, and leading them to the world of career and college opportunities. I present to you Chris Height from Dix Height, who will share how STREAM was incorporated in the world of landscape architecture.
So when I met Carol Ann, and she shared with me the way of teaching at Dream Lake Elementary, I quickly realized that it was the perfect intersection of STREAM and landscape architecture and Dream Lake's dream to improve their campus holistically. Landscape architecture embodies everything that STREAM stands for: science, technology, reading, engineering, art, and math, within one profession, which is why I'm wearing the House of Engineering, a little bit of engineering and landscape architecture. It's a perfect marriage, and we took the students through the process of design. Through the design process, the students were able to very practically apply everything that they'd been learning, from the dream to the discovery of what's about the campus, to the design process and all of their ideas, to the documentation, themselves putting their ideas down, to the delivery of the master plan, and then it'll go around again as we actually get some of these ideas built. So Dream Lake, if you've been to Dream Lake, and if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's amazing on the inside. Oh my gosh, the soul of Dream Lake is exhibited throughout the classrooms and the hallways, and the students love it. When you walk outside, we realized there needed to be a little bit of work done to bring the inside out. How can we embody what Dream Lake is outside? So guess what we did? We went on a year-long journey of taking the students through the applied learning process of STREAM, including charrettes, in-field discovery, collaboration, both online and in person. Some of these drawings are drawings that were done during the on-site charrette by the students. From that, we were able to identify some very clear program that we heard. They wanted a stage, they wanted an outdoor classroom, they wanted expanded play, they wanted better engagement outside. They wanted a sense of place as you came to the school, and they wanted more shade. More trees, please. We live in Florida. From that, the Dix Height team, and I have a couple of folks with me today, Whitney Tidd and Jessica Griggs. By the way, women on Women's Day. Power to the women. To take the ideas that the students had, put them on paper, and then we were able to present all of those ideas back at the school, and to a tremendous success, I think.
Thank you. So I'm going to just say thank you so much for Chris and Dix Height, Jessica and Whitney for the collaboration. And we do have some of our students today who participated in the charrette process, the entire process, but we're also first, second, and third place winners of the SECME competition. And in honor of International Women's Day, which is today, I have Shannon Dunphy, who is going to speak to you briefly. And then I have Lake, Ishmael, and Landon, who's going to present each person of the board, women only. And I see we have a full woman board here, so with a flower. So they're going to stand, and then they're going to share with you. Go ahead and speak right in. So they present, and then you tell them what it means.
Okay.
It's a wooden flower, so it will last forever. And then Shannon will read for you the representation.
Happy International Women's Day to you. Purple is the honorary color of International Women's Day. The color purple is said to symbolize bravery and wisdom. So fitting, since women are so brave and wise by design.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. Martin and Ms. Height, for providing Dream Lake Elementary Schools with STREAM, and for providing us the education about what STREAM is, and what a great place. Where else but Dream Lake should you have STREAM, right? Yes. And I absolutely love landscape architecture, and when it's done right, it's just phenomenal. I've been to so many charrettes over my life with adults, and it's so exciting to think of you holding that process right there with our students as they see what they're able to create. Just really exciting stuff. So great job, great partnership. And let me call on our vice chair for a few comments.
Hi, I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad you had the opportunity to come and share this amazing project. After I left that presentation, I told you, didn't I? I said, I'm bringing you downtown because everybody needs to hear about this. This partnership between this company and our local school, Dream Lake, was just a beautiful example of what collaboration really can look like when the community is engaged with our local schools. This company, it's their 25th anniversary year, so they decided to, give back to the community. And this is one of the projects that they're doing. They literally volunteered all this time and all this effort and created this project where the way they taught those children, you would have thought they were educators. I mean, they did such a great job designing the way they were going to engage those children and teach them about landscape architecture and get them involved in the whole process. And it was just something that they wanted to do for their community. And these children, and we didn't get to hear some of them speak tonight, but when we had the presentation, some of them, it's planted a little seed in them about a future career. And this is the kind of exposure we need to be doing for our children at the very young age in elementary school, like these kids, because now they saw something. They saw a cool career that they actually really enjoyed, and they saw a reason why they're learning all their math and their science concepts and everything. And they saw that it really can be put to use in a fun and interesting job one day. And that's what's going to motivate them when they get older to follow a career path. And so I am so thankful for you and for you dedicating this time. Dr. Martin, for you reaching out to them to even engage them in the first place. Your vision for all of this is just phenomenal. So thank you all so much. And if any other company out there is listening and wants to get involved with your local school, Dix Height would be a great teacher to tell you how to do it.
Yes. If I may, I did not thank, because I couldn't get this done without any of my staff and teachers who support these students each and every day. If my teachers would please stand up. I have Ms. Blankenship, Ms. Owen, Ms. McDuffie, and Ms. Powers. And then an extension of that, of course, are the parents. So the parents who brought their students here tonight for us, our scholars, please stand up and be recognized as well. And a key component, bridge between the parent and school, is our parent liaison, Kelly Ballone, who supports me in all of our endeavors. Thank you.
Great job. Great job. Let me also call on Member Castor-Dental.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am so impressed, and I would love to know more about how this collaboration started or initiated. Did you reach out to the landscape architect company? Can you share a little bit real quick?
Absolutely. I just, word of mouth, I said I needed someone to help me expand students' knowledge and understanding of engineering, and I wasn't sure what that would look like. And I had a friend who was in the dramatic arts that said, hey, I met this wonderful person named Chris, and she's got a landscaping firm. I think that might be engineering. So we connected, and we found out it was actually the full scope of the dream of STREAM. So that's how that just happened. Word of mouth, talking, saying what my needs were, and making the connection.
That's great. I would like to somehow promote this more. I don't know if there's like a News 13 story for this, so that we can help get the word out about how the community can partner with our schools. And I thank the Dix Height group. I know you have an office in Longwood, downtown. I've seen it. And Cherry Lake, they're great partners too. I followed
They're wonderful.
their concepts and their philosophy. So I appreciate your willingness to help.
Yes, you're welcome.
We have a gift.
We have a
for
gift.
Teresa Jacobs.
For Ms. Jacobs.
Chair Jacobs.
Okay.
So that you don't forget the dream. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much.
All right. We also have an announcement or comments from Member Felder before we move on to our proclamations.
Thank you, Chair Jacobs. I would just like to publicly thank the schools of District 5 who participated in our celebration of Black History Month. I got a text and a text and email from a gentleman from Martinique. He originally lived in Paris, but he moved to Martinique. He's an artist, and he looked at the the presentation that was on the website for OCPS, I got calls in Texas from everywhere, and then even schools outside of my district that viewed the work of the students, and then some faculty members that participated. A teacher from Evans did a beautiful rendition of a Negro spiritual. I just felt so blessed. And we have so much talent. And listening to what's happening at Dream Lake, and listening and knowing what the children did in District 5, and then the children at East River. Let me tell you something. We are a very blessed district. And to whom much is given, much is required. We have talent all over this place, and I hope we never, ever come to a point of squashing it, but allowing it to flourish in great ways. So to the schools of District 5, I want to thank you for your participation. To OCPS, I thank you for that opportunity, and it was just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Excuse me. Thank you, Member Felder. We have several proclamations we're recognizing tonight. One is the proclamation for April 2022 as Autism Month here in Orange County Public Schools. And I'd like to call on Dr. Ian Gesundheit to come forward and read the proclamation on behalf of the board. Thank you, Dr. Gesundheit.
Good evening, board members. Proclamation, Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism is a developmental disability characterized by a range of socialization, communication, and behavioral challenges, and whereas the symptoms of autism are typically present before age 3 and often accompanied by abnormalities in cognitive functioning, learning, attention, and sensory and processing, whereas autism affects 1 in every 59 children in the United States, is 4 times more likely to occur in boys and girls, and autism can affect anyone regardless of race, ethnicity, and other factors. And whereas the parents and relatives of individuals with autism are commended for their sacrifice and dedication to providing for the special needs of individuals with autism. And whereas the needs for early intervention services begin soon after a child has been diagnosed with autism, because it is significantly improves the outcome and can reduce the level of funding and services needed to treat people with autism later in life. And whereas training programs that are tailored to the needs of developmentally disabled persons, including those with autism, are important. And whereas that people with autism are productive members of a workforce when provided the appropriate support, training, and early intervention services. And whereas the U.S. House and Senate passed Resolution 8, CONRES 303 on February 25th, 2008, which recognizes the importance of autism awareness and the need to support individuals with autism and their family members, teachers, physicians, and other professionals who care for individuals with autism. And whereas individuals with autism, like all other Americans, should have the opportunity to realize their ambitions and lead rewarding lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Orange County, Florida does hereby proclaim April 1st through 30th of 2022 as Autism Awareness Month in Orange County Public Schools. And I am so excited to have the opportunity to share another shining light for Orange County Public Schools. It is an honor and a privilege for me to introduce to you an OCPS and a Project Search graduate. 3 years ago, this young lady took what she learned at OCPS and used it to get hired at Rita's Frozen Ice. Here, to give you a glimpse of her journey, please welcome Patish Graham.
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin talking about on how I've decided to let my acceptance for autism lead the way to destined opportunities, I want to first give a huge thanks to the one and only Mrs. Ingrid Cumming for her thoughtfulness of me to present something that is so important to my heart, and to the Quest team in Orange County District for building a platform in a community where they showed to the world of why the disability community is important. Now I should begin introducing me. Hi, My name is Pastiche Graham. I am an autistic adult at the age of 26 years old, standing here today, feeling all of the success on my shoulders because I've chosen to do something that was so hard. Changing my attitude about what I thought autism did to me instead of looking at what autism could do and yet decided to do for me. I am now in a new view of just how incredible being autistic can be. That is how my autism acceptance made its peak. My experience at OCPS through some of the greatest teachers like Miss Amy Serdersky has shown me that I am able to continue as an autistic individual, impacting the moments where someone as a student is in need. I owe my teacher the biggest thank you because that is what she did for me. Through Quest's project search, like Mr. Akeem Bethea and Miss Anna Cowell, has made me so employable in the workforce of today that now each time when I go to work as an autistic adult who is very fortunate to be picked out of the unemployed, people are able to see their autistic sons and daughters through me on the job. It is now filled with hope for an inclusive future. I thank Mr. Akeem Bethea and Miss Anna Cowell for teaching me that even when autistic, that independence is the sky to the limit. Just last January, I was unexpectedly on a well-known American TV show called Undercover Boss on CBS, and I talked a bit about how there's autistic people who accepts that they're autistic and how plenty of them still doesn't have acceptance. As Autism Awareness Month approaches, today I want to acknowledge every autistic voice through me, around the world, through myself, that we take the next step from awareness and begin slowly stepping into autism acceptance, because the children and even adults who are discriminated because of their disabilities are watching us and is looking for an inclusive future where acceptance is the reality, and it's up to us to begin the change right now. So that is where I'll start, right now. And I hope this moment has inspired you to start right now. Please be on the lookout for my very first book about autism acceptance this spring of 2022. Until then, here's to an inclusive future, and thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks for passing the note. I can't read it. Vice Chair just said under her breath, wow, this is a good school board meeting. I am so inspired by this young woman. We can allow ourselves to focus so much on what's wrong, and it's been a rough couple of years, and a lot has been wrong. And a lot is wrong across the globe right now. But a lot is right. And when you look at our young people, I tell people this all the time, if they're upset with what they see our adults doing, they can just hold on a little bit longer. Because when you see what these young people are doing as they're growing up, coming through middle school and high school, it's a whole different generation that has the potential to create the world we always dreamed of. Never in my lifetime as a young child, middle school, elementary school, high school, would I have ever dreamed of the day when we'd be here celebrating a young woman like this and her accomplishments. So our potential is limitless as long as we get out of their way. Dr. Ian.
I just wanted to share that. To the mic. She also is being hired by Rita as a consultant on disability awareness programs.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What a bright future. Yes, what a bright future, to steal the words of Member Gould. All right, we are also proclaiming April 2022 as National Arab American Month here in Orange County Public Schools. We are proclaiming April 2022 as School Library Media Month in Orange County Public Schools. Each one of these is incredibly important and deserves time, more time to spend on each to talk about just how important it is. But Arab American Month is so much an important part of our growing together as a society and our acceptance, and not just acceptance, our embracing and enthusiasm for what a diverse and rich community we live in and how powerful that is. School Library Media Month, there's never been a time when more focus has been on libraries in schools. If you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of pressure on our media specialists and a lot of responsibility and a lot of discord. But they play such a valuable role in making sure that we have good, strong books for all of our students. National Assistant Principals Week. I have to stop and pause here for a minute because we have just gone through 2 impasses with our teachers union. We spend a lot of time talking about the needs of teachers, and teachers are grossly underpaid and underappreciated, and I won't step back from that one bit. Our society needs here in this nation to understand just how tragic a future we would have without the willingness of dedicated teachers to come into the classroom in spite of lack of adequate pay and very difficult environment. But it doesn't stop with the teachers. It's the bus drivers. It's every single person who touches our children's lives. It's the food and nutrition services that make sure that our kids who are otherwise not getting a decent meal are getting 2 to 3 meals a day. There are incredible people that are not getting paid or not getting respected enough. And along with them are our principals, our assistant principals, our paraprofessionals. We don't spend enough time talking about our principals and our assistant principals. I'll share with you just a little story. A friend of mine is a principal. I hadn't talked to her in a little while. I sent her a text. You got time to chat later today? Just want to see how you're feeling. Just because I know it's been tough. I get a message back. I'd love to, but I'm subbing today. I've got a really full plate. Can I call you after 5? Call whenever. 5 comes, 5 goes. I don't hear from her. I text her back, everything okay? Cleaning bathrooms. That's a principle. Cleaning bathrooms. And not because anybody's not doing their job, but because right now we also have a shortage of custodians. Because we have a shortage of bus drivers, a shortage of custodians like the rest of the world, not because Orange County Public Schools is doing something wrong. It's not our fault. But we've got people stepping up to do whatever needs to be done. So I wanted to just pause for a minute to give a shout out to our principals, our assistant principals, and everybody else who is doing whatever they need to do to make sure that our children are in a safe, clean environment. They're being well cared for. They're being educated and nurtured. It's really a remarkable place to be with so much giving and so little taking. With that, let me call on Vice Chair Byrd, and then I'll go to Member Colbert and then Member Gallo.
Vice Chair. Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to kind of reiterate what the Chair just said. And, it's funny, you said when things are kind of going crazy or going awry, all you have to do is look at the kids to cheer you up. And it's funny because my husband says to me all the time, you need to go to a school. Like when things are getting a little too heavy and I'm a little inundated with things, he says, go to a school. You are a different person when you come home from those schools. Our schools are doing amazing things, and that's not just by accident. It's because they have amazing leaders. And, just like Dr. Martin earlier, that experience those kids went through would not have happened had it not been for her leadership. And we've got principals, and I can see several of mine in the audience, and it's very exciting to see all of you here, by the way. But we've got principals that this is what all they live and breathe is what is going on in their schools. And I happen to be friends with some of them on social media, so I see they do actually get out of the school and have some fun once in a while. But this is just, it is literally all they think about and all they do. When all of us were home and locked in, and we've talked about this before with COVID, they were at the schools. They were making sure that kids were getting work and the schools were getting ready for, our kids were getting meals. And, they didn't stop, and they don't stop year round. And I think sometimes we forget to give them the credit that they're due. And I want all of you to know that we see you and we know what you do, and we are so thankful for the jobs that you do every day and leading the staffs that you lead and talking to parents and talking them through issues and helping kids. I've got a principal in my district that I just saw cutting a rug with her students the other day, having a good old time. So, building those relationships with your kids. I see Mr. Johns over there, and I know that at his school, the kids certainly enjoy him, and he because my daughter goes to his school. And so it's just the relationships you build and what you're doing for our schools, and going out into the community and building relationships in the community, like Dr. Martin mentioned. That's all part of being the principal too. There's just so much on your plate. So I want you all to know that we appreciate you and thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being here tonight, and I'm so glad that we are doing our proclamation. I'm also glad for our item on the agenda later on that's coming up to finally give you guys some compensation that you really deserve. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Member Coburn.
Thank you. So many things that I want to say, and I most of the time feel a little more eloquent, but when I get in front of people that I really, really respect, that's when I tend to get a little tongue-tied. And our principals, as a parent, every principal that I've had over the last 25 years, I've had a great relationship with. They've been my partners in raising my children. As a school board member, I think you're right. We talk so much about how important our teachers are, our support staff. We talk about them all the time, but we don't step back and talk about our principals. In this past 2 years, you have done every job there is out there. You've taught, you've cleaned bathrooms, you've been mental health counselors, you've had teachers crying on your shoulders, you've had parents worried out of fear, you've accepted the rage, you've taken it all, and you guys never left. When we had the opportunity for some of our employees and our students to work and learn from home, you never left. You were there. And you know what else? You never complained. You took it, you rose to the occasion, you did the work, and that's why we're here today at this end, hopefully, of this crisis, in a room full of people where hopefully you can feel celebrated and you can feel supported. I want you to feel like we're in an inverted pyramid where you know who supports you. We have the students supported by the teachers, supported by the administrators, and you should feel supported by this district. That's what I want you to see and feel, and know that that's how we feel about you up here. So a big public thank you for all that you do, all that you've done, and all that you are.
Thank you, Member Colbert. Member Gallo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know that I could say it any better than my fellow school board members just have, but I also wanted to share my gratitude and my thanks for all that our assistant principals and principals do every single day in Orange County Public Schools. You know, they truly are the glue that is holding it all together. It's been a tremendous 2 years, and they've stepped up every single time in every way, and they continue to do so, because while the pandemic hopefully is lessening, the work is still yet to be done. There's just so much work to be done, and a lot of that falls on their shoulders along with our teachers, but they kind of guide that ship. So if we haven't said it often enough, I just want to say thank you. I agree with what Member Colbert said. I can name all the fabulous principals that my children had throughout the years. I have friends that are APs and are principals, and I know how hard they're working, and I understand how tough the job is sometimes, because they're in the trenches dealing with everything that we talk about at the dais, the children that haven't been in school in a couple years, with the self-regulation and just the mental health, and that mental health is just not with our students and our teachers, but it's also with our APs and our principals. And I'd love to be able to take a long pause so that we can all kind of catch up and deal with what we've had to go through for the last 2 years, but we can't, because at the heart of it all, we have children and students that we need to make sure that they're okay, and that they're learning, and that they're progressing, and that they're successful at the end of the day. And, they sail that ship. So I just want to say, with all the gratitude that I have, thank you to our APs and our principals and everybody that just steps up every day. I'm just truly appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gallo. Member Castellano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to also recognize the role of the principal and the administrative team in our students' lives and our community's lives. The job of a principal requires such sacrifice of time and commitment, and it is a thankless job. They're kind of squeezed in the middle between the parents and teachers, and then their administrative bosses, and the work that they do, the outcomes they have for our students are just incredible. And the way that they have navigated the pandemic has been impressive. And like you said, we don't really hear any complaints or concerns from the principals. They just keep their heads down and they do the work, and it's admirable. And they're critical to the success of our students. And I will be supporting, of course, the additional pay today, and also looking forward to ways that we can help revisit a work-life balance for these principals. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gould.
Good leaders set the tone for their schools, their community, their students, their partners. And I'm proud to say that we have a very positive tone. That's the one positive tone I'm always guaranteed in the community. It has a nice ring to it. And I want to also extend my thanks. But, half of our board has really experienced only the times of pandemic. Well, the times of pandemic layered it on, but growth hasn't stopped. In fact, it's gone back to record numbers in my area. There's challenges of now, we don't know how many homeless students we're going to have, and really the principals are the primary resource in their administrative teams for so many things that most parents don't even think about in the day because they're worried about what class they're placed in or how they get the homework if the teacher didn't happen to see their email that was sent out 10 minutes ago and they didn't answer, so they email the principal to get the answer. You know, you really deal with every absolute thing. But I also see the joy that you have when you stand in the bus line or you stand on the field or you stand in the auditorium for your job, for your students, and for your staff. So thank you for sharing that. You really are the leading lights of each of our little schools. Not so little schools.
Thank you. Member Vasquez, Dr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's not much left to be said. I do want to join the school board in alongside Superintendent to publicly thank you. Those of us who have not walked in your shoes can't understand the stress and the pressure that you are under. And even those of us that were principals have not walked in your shoes, because a principal during the pandemic is a whole different ballgame. And so on behalf of the superintendent and myself, we want to genuinely thank you for the sacrifices that you have made and for your continued support to ensure our students, our families are getting the very best in Orange County Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. And let me close this out on this subject by, just in case there was any confusion on my comments, my reaching out to a principal, there was no element of complaining. Might have sounded like, but no, there wasn't a complaint in that. I was kind of mortified, but no, it was just a reality. And the fact that we have principals that understand that in times of need, you do what you need to do, whether it's in the job description or not, just speaks volumes of the character of leadership that we have in our schools. Couldn't be more proud. Okay, we are going to move on to approval of the consent, do we have any changes to the consent agenda? First, let me ask this. Or any changes to the agenda at all? And then you know what I need to do? I need to let you all go home. If you'd like to go home, this would be the time to go. Do we have any newly appointed administrators? I'm sorry, do we?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. So you all are free to go. Thank you so much for being here.
You want to get a picture?
Picture, definitely. Come on. Yes, Dream Lake, we want a picture. Thank you. Hello, how are ya? Good. Oh my gosh. All right.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
thinking too, right?
Yeah.
They need to come do some design work at my house.
I got an office building, I got a house.
We go with Marie.
Oh yeah, we can hold it. Yeah. We'll put it up. Oh, we should hold it.
Yes, we should hold them.
Tall people in the back. That's weird. He knows his role.
Dr. Martin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great work. Choice on your college.
Take care.
Oh, congratulations. Great job, by the way. Great job. So inspiring.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I want to go out there and see this.
Great work.
Okay. Dr. Vasquez, no changes to the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, there are no changes. A correction was made to item 5.03, and all board members are made aware.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved, Chair.
Motion by Member Colbert. Is there a second?
Second.
By Member Lopez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Member Gallo?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the consent agenda, then we do have two public speakers. One is Mike Armbruster. It is our Mike Armbruster.
It's like old times.
Well, so Mike, normally I give the speech about how no clapping, cheering, booing, and hissing. I knew there was no point in giving that speech if that was really you, because nobody was going to listen to me. So rather than risk that rejection, I just skipped it for you.
Well, thank you very much.
Good to see you. Speaking of previous principals.
I was going to say, how many of y'all are principals and assistant principals? Raise your hand.
How many of you all are parents of students that had Mr. Armbruster as a principal? Raise your hand. Your turn.
I think I'm okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent or Deputy Superintendent Dr. Vasquez. My name is Mike Armbruster, and I reside at 527 North Boyd Street in Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. And you just took most of my speech by your comments, but we're going to get there anyway, so bear with me. Having served as an associate superintendent for several years and enjoyed a positive relationship with board members, I was initially a little taken aback in my new role as the executive director for the Orange County Association of School Administrators, representing over 300 school leaders since this past July. As I visited schools, I kept hearing that administrators didn't feel supported by this school board. Conversations I listened in on at the board table started to reinforce what I'd been hearing from them. Conversations that included taking money from potential administrator raises to pay teachers more, whittling away at their retirement benefits by taking back the 2% multiplier that was given to them years ago, and as recently as this week, putting forward a compensation plan that compensated school-based administrators at levels less than teachers and support staff. The good news is that the plan in there now has been modified and funds were found to keep the playing field pretty level for all OCPS employees, including school-based administrators. It is appreciated. But even with that last-minute change, it does still beg the question, do you really appreciate your school leaders? I know some of you well, and I believe you to be strong advocates for all educators, and yet these almost anti-administrator conversations have gone on with little to no pushback from anyone. We all know that for bad things to happen, all it takes is for good people to remain silent. I've watched these past 2 years as you have been attacked, threatened, even to the level of death threats, yelled at, put down, and basically chastised for every decision you have made. It has not been an easy time for any of you, and I get that. Sometimes it's just easier to stay silent. Believe me, as a longtime school leader, I get that more than you might appreciate. 33 years with OCPS allowed me the opportunity to teach, serve as an assistant principal, a principal, and as the associate superintendent for CTE. But it was my 19 years as a school-based leader that gave me some real insight into the best and the worst of people. My years as a principal also taught me the power that I had to make people feel better or to feel worse by the simplest of acts. A smile versus a relaxed face, a kind word versus nothing at all, using the made-up word staffalty to include all employees and to show them that all of us mattered. A loud and enthusiastic good morning Warriors, Knights, or Cougars every single day, even when I didn't feel that enthusiastic myself. It wasn't always easy to get excited, but I did my best because I knew the power that was mine to wield. So too is it with you. You have the power to affect those who you may not even think are listening, but they are. Trust me, they hear it all, either firsthand or through those who never miss a board meeting. Tonight you have had the opportunity to speak to a large group of administrators. This has been and still is a chance for you to clarify for them in your own words what they mean to this district, and an opportunity to cast aside the non-support many have felt over the past 2 years, whether intentional or not, and start moving forward with a clear understanding. We are thankful for the updated compensation packet we hope you will approve tonight, and that will be a step in the right direction. But more than that, can I finish?
Yes, you can finish,
Madam
sir.
Chair, thank you. But more than that, thank you. I thank you and hope that you will take advantage of their presence to share as you have already shared. I also hope that you will accept invitations from them just to visit their schools, not for a special event or a red carpet moment, but just to walk and build those all-powerful relationships that we talk about for our students. We all know that together we all succeed. Again, thank you for serving, and thank you for the opportunity to have honest conversations. It is much appreciated. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I kind of feel like we put the cart before the horse there, because we just finished doing that. So, but you hadn't read your speech. So we'll just play this tape. We'll juxtapose this tape when it's all said and done, and then it'll be us responding. But anyway, very good comments, and we do understand the concerns that you have, and we understand the concerns about any conversations about benefit packages as well. So I think all of those things need to be talked out and better discussed rather than just a comment here or there that goes unaddressed. So thank you for that as well. Let's hear from Dr. Vasquez. Dr. Vasquez.
Yes, ma'am. So good afternoon, Chair Jacobs, Deputy Superintendent Vasquez, and board members. My name is Dr. Aleli Vasquez, and I reside at Grand Pine Way, Castleberry, Florida, 32707. Today, I am honored to speak on behalf of my colleagues as the OCASA President-elect. This group of school-based administrators is facing frontline dangers daily. They're working endless hours trying to support teachers, keep students safe, monitor data and learning loss, address the community needs, collaborate with parents, and juggle all the mandates expected of us. In addition to being instructional leaders, we became COVID experts, vaccine site coordinators, medical experts, and health department analysts. Just like me, many administrators are teaching classes while effectively having to do a balancing act with observations, meetings, and other duties as assigned. And as we know, that other duties as assigned has taken a whole new meaning. Yeah. Consider the administrators who spend 12 to 16 hours on average per day at school or take the work home to complete all the required demands. Without hesitation, we get to do this all over again the next day to support the staff and students that we love so much. Every day we give everything, our mental health, energy, knowledge, and heart. The burnout is real. We know that we're not irreplaceable, but we are very hard to replace. The demands, skills, and requirements to become an administrator are many, making it extremely difficult to expand the administrator's pool as other positions can do. It truly is a balancing act that only a really skilled person can be successful with while maintaining a highly structured academic environment in order to have strong student outcomes with school grades. We cannot afford to lose the outstanding administrators that we currently have. Some try to portray us as the enemy. We're not. We are servant leaders, always ready to take on whatever is thrown at us. Our loved ones, spouses, kids, and parents also suffer due to the many sacrifices we make. In many cases, they are the ones that get the leftovers because we give all to our schools, the schools that we love and serve. Schools are still standing because of these leaders. OCPS is lucky to have fearless leaders that have endured the last 2.5 years like warriors and are still standing strong. This was not the case in many states or counties. The reality is that educators are hurting. We are in crisis. Now more than ever, we must stand as a united front. There is already enough division out there. This is not about who does more than who or who is more important than the other. In my school, we don't do titles. It is all hands on deck doing what is best for children. School administrators need everything students and staff need in value and appreciation. We must invest in adults to obtain results in children. This is the time to demonstrate beyond words to administrators how our school board and district values us. We have faith that you will take care of us just like we take care of our school communities. To my colleagues, make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. All right, we are poised for a motion on the consent agenda. I'm sorry, Member Caster-Dental. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to respond to some of the comments. I know, Dr. Armbruster, it is good to see you back. And you are the right person at this time in this role to help lead our administrators. Your style of leadership, your servant leadership, and your focus on relationships, I think will help the board relationships with all of our principals, and I appreciate your role in that. And Dr. Vasquez, I look forward to working with you in the back, working with you and OCASA and helping to build those bridges, and so that we really fully understand the role of principals and how the board can be supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castellano. All right. I will now open the floor for a motion on the consent agenda. Motion by
I
Vice
will
Chair.
move to approve the consent agenda.
You have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Member Castellano. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Member Gallo?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Next on our agenda, we have no public hearings. We have non-consent agenda 1701, request approval of the nominees to the Superintendent Search Advisory Committee. Dr. Williams, is Dr. Williams present? Dr. Williams, you're recognized.
Yeah. Chair Jacobs and school board members, 17.01 is the request to approve the resolution for the Superintendent Search Advisory Committee. The resolution includes the duties, responsibilities, and guidelines, as well as the names of 15 individuals that were nominated. In addition, the Sunshine Law Public Records and an ethics memo is also attached, and the letter, if approved, that will be sent or forwarded to the 15 nominees, as well as the updated Orange Search timeline. Chair Jacobs.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I was impressed, surprised at the ability of this board to so quickly pull together the appointments and to see the diversity and the strength of the committee. I'm impressed. I shouldn't have been. I don't remember which one of you reminded me. Was it you? A couple of you reminded me that me of little faith when I didn't think we could get this done in less than a week and have diversity and balance on the committee, and we do. So I'm very excited about that. I will open the floor for a motion to accept the nominations.
So moved.
Motion by Member Gould. Is there a second? Second by Member Cobert. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Gallo? Sorry. Member Gallo?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, and our letter will go out tomorrow morning, and we will start this process. Well, we've started it, but we will start the process with our committee in place. In terms of other items on the agenda, I think we are down to Superintendent's report. Dr. Vasquez. I'm sorry. Now I've got Vasquez because the other Dr. Vasquez pronounces it Vasquez, and you're Vasquez.
I respond to anything that sounds like Vasquez.
Okay, but just for the records, for anybody who's watching, your preferred way of being addressed is Vasquez.
Yes, Dr. Vasquez.
Can you leave?
Mr. Armbruster, are you requesting permission to leave?
Yes, ma'am. As you mentioned, they got no clean toilets.
Oh, I am so sorry. You can leave, and so can, of course, everybody can leave. I am so sorry.
We have to go clean toilet.
We're going to gather.
Take the night off. Well, maybe I should have kept them a minute later.
Maybe we should just have a 5-minute reception.
All right, can we take a 5-minute break, or?
That's okay.
All right, let's finish it up. Go ahead, Dr. Vasquez. And I know Member Lopez needs to leave in just a minute.
All
No,
right,
it's okay.
I
You're
have
good.
4 items to address.
Okay.
Is that maybe we wait?
Go ahead.
Okay. We're listening.
We can hear you.
Yes?
10 more seconds.
Okay, 10 more seconds.
10 seconds. We're just waiting 10 seconds.
Many of them have not seen each other as a group because of the pandemic, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I kept thinking, who is that? Who is that?
All right, Madam Chair, may I proceed?
Yes.
So I have four quick items. The first one, I am so excited to announce that just a few hours ago, we received word that our ESSER 3 plan has been tentatively approved by FDOE, and by the 17th, it should have final approval and dollars to us by the end of March, which includes all of the supplements that we approved this evening. Over 80% of the dollars are allocated to direct services or supports to the schools. If you want to see a copy of our ESSER 3 plan, you can go on our website under Departments, ESSER, and you click and you can see the plan, and then there's also a chart that indicates the expenditures. And so we are so excited to be able to continue with the interventionist, the additional guidance counselors, mental health counselors, dollars for planning, dollars for professional development, HVAC repairs and upgrades. So every division is benefiting from the dollars that we have received. Because of that, I'm happy to announce that we are going to offer teachers this summer an additional 5 days of planning. They will be voluntary, but it will allow them some time to be able to look at the next year. We have new standards that will be in place, and give them some time dedicated to the planning of the next school year. Great. Number two, on March 29th, we will be coming back with a summary of the information we have been gathering regarding what we can take off teachers' plates and some possible budget savings. Principals and department leaders have been gathering this information, and we have also received ideas from our CTA. Number three, our area superintendents are going to start the teacher roundtables, and during this time, they will also include questions about the teacher evaluation system. I've also had the opportunity to meet with Wendy Dormal, and she has provided ideas on the teacher evaluation system. And we will continue to gather and discuss the input during the coming weeks, and then be able to come back with some recommendations as to how we would proceed with the evaluation system. And lastly, the superintendent at the end of March will be meeting with a group of LGBTQ students, and I'm sure that she will be reporting back to you as well. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Enval.
I have nothing except for to remind that we have an executive session right after this.
All right, thank you. Any board members have any policy level issues they'd like for us to agenda for a future meeting?
I'm not a policy level. Well, yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I do.
All right, Member Gould, let's start. That's okay.
Going back to some things that you just said, Dr. Vasquez, we know that we have the funds, thanks to the ESSER, for covering a little bit of time with our very aggressive trying to make up salaries that are only going to get bigger gaps. But anyway, I know that the unions provided some great feedback on budgets, and I'm wanting to make sure that we hear how that's going to continue to circle back as those suggestions are updated and conversations happen, because I don't think this is a one and done kind of conversation, especially in light with what's going on in the state and the world right now. So could you just give us an update of how those lists are being processed and what the processes are for that continued feedback loop?
Certainly. So we have received feedback from various stakeholders. As I mentioned, CTA did poll its membership, and they have shared some of their cost-saving ideas as well as things that come off of their plate. And many of them have been echoed in the feedback that we have received from the principals who have solicited input from all of their staff, as well as the department heads across the district. We are in the process of reviewing and disaggregating those ideas. Some of them are feasible, some are not. And part of our feedback back to the board as well as the community is going to include if there's an idea that we are not able to follow through the rationale behind it. And we expect that by March 29th, when we bring that back to the board, we will be able to present all of the ideas and which ones we believe we are able to move forward with that will not harm education for our students, but also include the why. I think that's been eye-opening as we've looked at some of the feedback. It's clear that some of the information is inaccurate. For example, one of the ideas for cost savings was to eliminate all evaluation systems. Well, we can't do that. We're required, but
They'll
it's
never
important.
Get any money.
But it's important for those individuals that have given us the feedback to understand why we may not be able to move forward. But there have been some incredible ideas, and I do believe that in order for us to address the gaps that exist in salaries for all of our employees, we are going to make some choices of things that we will need to do without in order to be able to retain and attract the very best staff. And I think today's board meeting, from the speakers that we had, the recognitions, it's just wonderful to see evidence of what an incredible district we are proud to serve in. It's hard with all the noise, especially that's been happening these past few weeks in Tallahassee and the division that we see. But when you see students who are successful, who have a mindset of inclusion and looking at a disability as a strength and trying to get that message across, that happens because of the incredible teachers, principals, administrators that have been able to touch her life. And I think that we need to demonstrate our appreciation, but we're going to have to make some tough choices in order to come up with those dollars.
So thank you for highlighting the realities of what we do every day and not just the sound bites that we hear a lot of times at our pre-agenda meetings. Follow up, is there, and this may be more from Ms. Unval and for you to take back to the superintendent if the board is interested in this, but I feel like this budgetary issue is not going to go away, and every year presents different opportunities for cost savings than the year before because of technology changes, because of things that just lag behind as you're implementing new programs. Do we need a policy or an addendum to a policy or a revision of a policy that outlines a formal annualized feedback process? Because I think this was done well, but I would like to workshop it as we get all the way through to the end and really look at what worked, what didn't work, how could we improve it. But since we have multiple years that we know we have to go forward from, and that's not that long, we have 2 full school years, And we've got to find solutions that are going to be realistic solutions and in the best interest of the community. And I also think that we need that information as we do go into the referendum, going into whenever it's going to be. But that same information of how we're doing that due diligence and be able to have a policy that we point to for that continued. We already have a lot of them, but this is just, and we've done this before since I've been here, but I'm not sure we've memorialized it.
And I do believe we have a process that involves the engagement of the staff and the community. I believe that over the last several years, that may look different from school to school. And it would be, I think it's been very eye-opening to have fresh eyes on opportunities for us to look at savings in order to find the salaries. One of the recurring themes is to go out and include that in the referendum. And so, of course, if that happens, then we've bought ourselves additional time where we are not having to look every single year for massive cuts to be able to provide those salaries to our employees.
Well, if I can interject, one of the policies that we discussed at the last work session was a policy where the board directs the superintendent in terms of the what the expectations are for the coming year. And that would seem like a great place to weave into that policy, that prior to that, we are collecting input that helps inform that direction. And it could be budgetary, and it could be others. So with that, we're not trying to land the plane here, but that could be a policy level discussion to bring back, and that might be the place, or Ms. Emval, after looking at our policies, might find another place. But I think I agree with you. I think once we have done this year, looking at it, saying what worked, how do we make it better, a policy that isn't so prescriptive that we can't modify how we do it, but just addresses what needs to be done, would set that in motion. So, okay. Member Felder.
Yes, thank you. Yes, in terms of policies, I guess this is probably the same mantra that I was repeating when I first got on the board about policies. Again, and I know that we do have another chance of listening to the policy that we established regarding discipline, that matrix. I really want to talk about that in a little more. And after seeing all these principles here in APs, I just think that needs to be revisited in some kind of way we can just dig through a little bit better. Also, I know this is a sticky kind of thin line, but I need to kind of probably maybe a question for Amy with regards to the board's position in terms of we are policy, and Dr. Jenkins and her cabinet, they're operational. And I'm just wondering about policy in terms of where does the line stop in terms of any kind of input that board members may have as it relates to the schools, the operations of the schools. I mean, how much, I'm new to the board, how much input do we have? And it's thin because when you select the superintendent, you select the superintendent under the auspices that they are equipped to do the job of a superintendent. So I'm not trying to usurp authority. I need you to understand me clearly. But I think that, sometimes, Scripture says that there's wisdom in the multitude of counseling. Sometimes we may need to let other people look at some of the decisions that we make. Every week we meet with our superintendent before board meetings so we can discuss and deliberate and know what we're going to discuss. So we have a lot of policies, and I know people just get wore out with all the BEBA and BBD and all of that. But this is the job. We agreed to the job. So I want to, I know it's going to probably mess with a lot of people's time, but I think it would behoove us as a board to seriously look at our policies. And the reason why I realized that when I went to that board meeting that I needed to go, everybody else had gone to, and I called Amy because they told us to look through our policy, and I was looking through and I couldn't find something. She said, "What's this, a problem?" But I said, "No, I just need to find which BBE it is, which BBE." So and it forced me, fellow board members, to read the policies. A lot of them, but we put them together. So I think we need to kind of, at some point in time, have a drag-out meeting, whatever. We go through these policies, and there may be some need for change. It may not be. I certainly am happy about how we're really taking a lot of time with dealing with the discipline because of the climate that we are living in. We can't just, we're going to have to revisit discipline policies probably every year because you got students committing suicide, you got students bringing guns to school, you got a lot of stuff going on. So I am proud, though, sitting on this board going on my second year, that I think we got some pretty good schools. So some pretty good kids, even though, we have issues, and I like the fact that the Chairman Jacobs often says that she enjoys the deliberation of this board, that we have that opportunity. So, Amy, we may have to find that, and I hate getting up early, but I get up for this, that we need to just kind of revisit our policies, what has been put in. We may find some of that stuff was written in 2000, and it's 2022. I'm just saying. And as we're choosing a new superintendent, we'll all be on the same page. Not that we weren't with the superintendent we have now, but I wasn't a part of that choosing. And whoever doesn't run again, they won't be a part of this choosing, and maybe they will. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, I think looking at our policies more intently, I think that's necessary. We can't meet because of the sunshine law and so forth, but we can invite the public in. We really need to look at those policies. And have some
Member
questions.
Felder, we met our last meeting. How many policies did we go through? 7. And one of the policies, I know, and we.
You do?
Yes, and one of them was a policy dealing with interference of the superintendent's authority. So the question that you raised about how much say can we have in what's happening in a school, that was in one of those policies.
Yeah, I guess interference is not a word that I would use.
I don't think it uses that word either.
Yeah, I wouldn't say interference. I just would say perhaps clarity. I need to.
Well, I think that was one of the policies that we took up.
BDD was your board superintendent relations policy.
And it was that specifically.
Well, I need to look back through that again.
Yeah. I will tell you what I did when I ran during the campaign, and I wasn't a teacher. Well, I was mayor, but I wasn't a teacher, and a teacher's harder than a mayor. I vouch for that. I'm 100% certain of that. But I read all of our policies and went through and looked for areas that I thought we should change, but also came in and thought it would be good before coming in saying, let's change this, to kind of observe and see, is there a why behind some of the things that we have?
And I think that's where I am. I'm not necessarily saying board Jacobs, Chair Jacobs said, I'm seeking to change.
No.
I'm seeking for a deep discussion because, again, I guess this is the time we're meeting right now on the dais, but a time when we really meet and just talk about the decisions that we're going to make or we've made. And I understand we have to invite the public. I don't have a problem with that because I'm having this discussion, the public is here, and we're on television talking about it. I just think sometimes I feel, and this is my personal feelings, sometimes I feel like we go through stuff so quickly. And I don't think that's why I was voted in this position. I was voted in. It's my job to look at the policies and to pay attention. But it's also, I think, my members of my constituency, they're not going to read all the policies. They expect me to have a good understanding, and the only way that I can, I believe at some point I need to have some discussion and deliberation. And it could be just me because I'm the newest member, but and I do appreciate the work sessions that we do have. But again, I just believe that at some point, I'd like for us to really spend some time reading through some of the policies. And it doesn't mean that I'm advocating abrupt change. Because if it ain't broke, why fix it? But I am trying to make sure I understand what we are and what we have agreed to. And I think that's important, especially we're getting ready to do something very, very important. We're getting ready to choose a new superintendent. And whomever we choose, we want them to come in feeling comfortable with the board who is fully informed. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Thank you so much.
Ms. Enval? Ms. Enval loves policies.
I love policies. I do. So we do, we revise the Code of Student Conduct every year, and we're in that process right now. We do have community meetings. I was checking the time frame real quick with Ms. Kopesky because she's your cruise director for that particular policy. We have community meetings that are at the end of March and the beginning of April, and then individual meetings with board members will be the mid to end of April, and there's a work session on May 17th, rule development workshop on May 31st, and board approval on June 14th. So we have a lot coming up. So what I'm going to ask her to do is get with you individually so you can, Member Felder, so she can talk you through the discipline matrix and you can provide your input to her directly. And all of you are welcome to do that as well.
Why don't you also, because you had put together a schedule for us of how we were going to get through all the policies, and things come up. COVID happened, and that threw us way off,
It sure
but
did.
COVID is calming down. Can you
I'll
send back out to the whole board the schedule that you have? Because there's no question, you're absolutely right. I mean, some of these policies go back to 1993 and they haven't been touched. And even if you don't change anything, just knowing and discussing and all of us agreeing, I don't disagree with you at all. I just know that it takes longer than we could
we
imagine.
have 222 policies.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And some of them,
No.
But if you wanted to get done in a year, you'd have to do 19 policies a month. So
We can't do it in a day.
We did. We got through like 7,
we did
and I was
7.
blown away that we were able to do that.
And that's what we're doing. We're scheduled. You'll notice there's another work session on March 22nd for the second set of B policies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we have the schedule moving forward from there. We're trying to get on your calendars at least twice a month. Trying to make sure we have a block of policies for you to review, and then staff will take them back and make any revisions you have, and then we'll bring them back through the Chapter 120 process.
Okay. Member Gould.
So, having been, Woody didn't like policies quite as much as Amy, but his goal was to get through all of the policies. But it does take time, and you need the time. And quite honestly, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to take them in bite-sized pieces. One, the mental capacity of the wordsmithing alone. And each subject is a little different, right? So it's hard to bounce too much if they don't relate and do it effectively in the day. So I absolutely agree with Member Felder that we need to make sure there's nothing that's sitting antiquated and not at least eyeballed and refreshed, even if we give it a thumbs up. But I hear her sense of urgency, but at the same time, that's a tough nut, and you want to be diligent and deliberate.
Mm-hmm. Vice Chair.
I was just going to reiterate my idea brought up a few weeks ago about having a set day for policy revisions earlier in the day as opposed to later in the afternoon. And I think if that was blocked out on the calendar, we wouldn't have to encounter the calendar issues like we do with scheduling, because that it really is a challenge with 8 board members. So I still stand by that idea because I agree. We do have a lot of policies to get through and it takes time. So
Okay. I have something I need to read. I'm reading it here after we adjourn.
So yes,
Or am
you adjourn. The statute requires you to open it in a public meeting.
Okay.
What we normally do is we have a separate time, so we've been opening it over in conference room A, but since we're in a public meeting, you can adjourn this meeting and then make your announcement for our
And make it,
executive
and
session.
then
Yes.
we're still going to go to a separate room. All right, then this meeting is now adjourned. Pursuant to Section 286.011, subsection 8, Florida statutes, the School Board of Orange County, Florida will meet in an executive session to discuss the pending litigation of Teresa Javier versus Orange County Public School Board, case number 2019-CA-00308-0. The statute requires us to open the meeting in the public and then adjourn to our closed executive session. It is estimated this attorney-client session will take approximately 1 hour. Those attending will be myself, Melissa Bird, Vice Chair, Angie Gallo, attending virtually or not attending? Not attending. Member Lopez will not be in attendance. Member Linda Cobert, School Board Member. Pam Gould, School Board Member. Vicki Elaine Felder, School Board Member. Karen Castrodental, School Board Member. Dr. Maria Vasquez, Deputy Superintendent. Amy Emval, School Board's General Counsel. John C. Palmerini, Deputy General Counsel. Michael D. Morales, Esquire, and a court reporter.
Michelle Morales, but that's okay.
Pardon me?
It's Michelle Morales.
I'm sorry, Michelle. It is. It absolutely is. Oh. Once the executive session is over, we will reconvene the public meeting by opening the door, and with no further business, we'll conclude the public meeting. We will be meeting in conference room E for the executive session, and we're moving to there now.